Instead, they want them to be free to stand on their porch step in front of their wife and children with 3 or 4 union organizers and tell these guys, I'm not going to sign your card.
That's right.
Like a lot of fun that's going to be. Anyway, here's the deal. We are, freedom marchers, Tea Party activists, small government conservatives, individual liberty-loving individualists who only insist on our right to be our own person on our own terms as the Lord God made us. We are right now the biggest energetic force in America. And they are either trying to ignore us or betting we'll go away.
No way.
Now, in the final analysis, here's the deal. You're going to get that policy which those people in office want to give you. And unless they're more afraid of you than they are of Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, they're going to vote with them. So you got to show up. And you've got to show up in Virginia right now. You've got a great opportunity. Because the Virginia governor's race, the Virginia Attorney General's race, all of the races you have in your House of Delegates, the race in New Jersey, we can send a message to Washington enough already.
Really?
But I'm told there are an awful lot of people that have been active this past summer who are saying, but I don't want to get involved in elections. Why not?
Absolutely.
Who's going to make the final decision whether or not you live with nationalized health care? Some guy casting a vote in a legislative body. And we ought to decide who that guy is. I've always said that the margin of victory in every big policy issue that sits on the floor of a legislative body is always brought to that final vote by the bedwetters. And they're always there. And these are the guys who don't have convictions on which to stand. They oftentimes don't understand the policy itself. By the way, did you ever notice the law of unintended consequences is never applied to private transactions, only to public policy? And these bedwetters are going to sit there, and in the end, they're going to give their vote to whom they fear the most. Why shouldn't that be us? We're America.
Yes, sir. Right on.
What I would suggest that we do is understand that of all the times we show up, there can be no time that is more critical and important than the time at which they're up for the election by which they will have the job or not. Yep. And of those of us that want to stand in defense of liberty, to stand in assistance of small, responsible government that understands its duty and does it with some degree of efficiency, if we don't show up at that time, we lose, no matter what we've said. Can you imagine telling your child every day of your life, I expect you to do this, I expect you to do this, I expect you to do that, and when he doesn't do it, you say, well, of course, that's not my business. You've been there and done that. But at any rate, here's the deal. We have right now a chance for America has understood. We went too far in the last election. We bought platitudes and pretty promises and nice rhetoric. We let a guy win a talent contest who has no capacity to serve in the office, and we've got our chance to straighten it up. I want you to think very seriously about how much can I do between now and then. And I'm just going to tell you a little secret. In North Carolina, we had a bunch of Republicans who wouldn't listen to the grassroots activists that believe that their state government should be responsible. And they lost their jobs.
Yes.
Because the grassroots, and they should have lost their job. Doesn't matter what the party is, and I'm not for one party or the other. It just seems to me there seems to be a preponderance of audacity and ignorant behavior that's greater in one of the two parties than the other. But there also seems to be enough when you look at office holders to go around. And what we need to understand is we have a right to expect those people who when they enter that office, and everybody does this, they swear a singular oath to nothing other than the Constitution of the United States.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
This is not that hard to understand.
No.
The people who wrote that were smart, courageous, innovative people. They knew what the meaning of the word was, and they wrote exactly what they meant.
Right.
And it's not unreasonable, it's not unpatriotic for us to simply say to you folks who have the privilege of being in high office, who swore that oath of allegiance to that precious document, that Churchill called the greatest moment of entrepreneurial courage in the history of the world for democracy and freedom.
Right.
To stand by and fulfill that commitment. If you can't do that, then don't expect us to help you in that job. Go on home. And if you want to be faithful to something else, go be faithful. You have a right to be faithful. But in that office, you took an oath to my Constitution.
Right.
A precious gift.
Right.
So I want to thank you all. I've been, I should tell you, I spent 18 years in Washington in the House. I had a lot of fights, and I won more than my fair share of them. But I never won a fight in Washington where the critical element of the victory didn't come from grassroots activists who reminded people from another part of the state, another part of the country, what their duty was on that day of that vote.
Right.
So grassroots activism is America at work for the protection of their freedom, fulfilling the precious promise of the American Constitution. By the way, the great and unique promise of the American Constitution that makes us different from Europe and correct where Europe is wrong. That we promise to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. We don't put the well-being of the community, of the collective ahead of the liberty of the individual. That's why we're different. That's what we're doing. Let's go make these guys serve the commitment they made. Thank you all for letting me be here.